Did you know there are countries that have completely banned US tourists in 2025? Not just tough visas, total bans. Even with a private jet and a fortune, your American passport is useless in these places. We dug deep to uncover the top 10 countries that have slammed the door on American travelers. From political drama to security crises, the reasons are wild, and some will shock you. Stick around for the number one country. It's the most jaw-dropping of all. Let's dive in. Number 10 is North Korea, a country notorious for its secrecy, isolation, and iron-fisted control over its borders. Often called the Hermit Kingdom, North Korea has long been one of the most difficult places in the world to visit. But recent years have seen the country become even more inaccessible than ever before. Now, the nation is more locked down than ever, with its borders sealed tight and security at an all-time high. The regime's paranoia about foreign influence and espionage has only intensified. In 2025, both the US and North Korea have enforced a total ban on American visitors. This means that not a single American tourist, journalist, or aid worker is allowed to cross into North Korean territory, no matter the reason. After a series of failed diplomatic talks and renewed missile tests, North Korea declared any American a potential spy, heightening tensions to levels not seen in years. The government's suspicion of outsiders has reached new extremes. The regime uses the threat of detaining Americans as a political tool, making travel impossibly risky. Even the smallest infraction can lead to arrest, lengthy interrogations, or worse, turning visitors into pawns in international disputes. Every aspect of a visit is controlled, and now, even the rare guided tours are gone. Tour operators have shut down, and the once occasional glimpses into North Korean life have vanished completely. The tragic Otto Warmbier case still haunts US-North Korea travel discussions, serving as a grim warning of what can happen when things go wrong. His story is a powerful reminder of the dangers Americans face in North Korea. With zero benefit and maximum risk, North Korea has shut Americans out completely. The message is clear: foreigners, especially Americans, are not welcome under any circumstances. The only way to see inside is through documentaries or news reports, which offer a rare, tightly controlled glimpse into this secretive nation. For most, North Korea remains a mystery, glimpsed only through the lens of foreign media. For Americans, Pyongyang is off-limits. No exceptions, no loopholes, and no hope for change in the near future. North Korea's ban is a stark reminder of just how broken relations have become and how far both countries are from any kind of reconciliation or open exchange. That's why it kicks off our list, a symbol of isolation, tension, and the high price of political conflict. Number 9 on our list is Iran, a country with a long and complex history, now facing one of its coldest diplomatic moments in recent years. In the wake of escalating tensions, a new diplomatic freeze has resulted in a sweeping total ban on American tourists entering the country. After the collapse of high-stakes nuclear talks, Iran abruptly stopped issuing tourist visas to US citizens, shutting the door on any hope of travel for Americans. This move is a direct response to ongoing US sanctions and mounting political pressure, signaling a hardening stance from Tehran. Even before this outright ban, Americans could only visit Iran under strict government-guided tours, always accompanied by official guides and watched closely by authorities, with little freedom to explore independently. Now, even those tightly controlled options have vanished. No Americans are allowed in under any circumstances, making travel impossible for US citizens. Iran's troubling history of detaining dual nationals and foreign visitors adds another layer of risk, making travel not just difficult, but potentially dangerous for Americans. By banning American tourists outright, Iran also sidesteps the risk of high-profile detentions that could give the US diplomatic leverage or spark international incidents. The message from Iran's government is unmistakable. Americans are not welcome here, at least for the foreseeable future. This means that ancient wonders like the ruins of Persepolis, the stunning mosques of Isfahan, and countless other cultural treasures are now completely off-limits to American travelers. With its borders frozen to Americans, Iran lands firmly at number 9 on our list of countries closed to US tourists. For Americans dreaming of visiting, the door is not just closed, it's locked tight, with no sign of reopening soon. It's a significant loss for anyone hoping to experience Iran's rich culture, vibrant bazaars, and breathtaking architecture, a reminder of how quickly geopolitics can change the world of travel. Number 8 is Russia, where a new Iron Curtain has fallen for Americans. Once a destination for adventurous travelers and cultural explorers, Russia is now almost completely closed off to US citizens, echoing the isolation of the Cold War era. The ongoing Ukraine conflict has made US-Russia relations not just strained, but outright toxic. Diplomatic ties have frayed, and travel between the two countries is now nearly impossible for ordinary Americans. The US State Department's "do not travel" warning is echoed by Russia's own increasingly hostile stance toward Americans. Both governments now advise their citizens to avoid each other's countries entirely. Americans face overwhelming obstacles, visa denials, endless bureaucratic red tape, and the ever-present threat of wrongful detention or being used as political pawns. Direct flights between the US and Russia have been suspended, and consular services for Americans in Russia are almost non-existent, leaving travelers stranded and without support. Russia's new laws are so strict that even a simple social media post criticizing the government or the war could land you in jail, making freedom of expression a serious risk. High-profile detentions like the case of basketball star Brittany Griner highlight the very real dangers Americans face, with the threat of long prison sentences for minor or even fabricated offenses. There's technically no official law outright banning Americans, but the practical barriers are so high, they're nearly insurmountable. The message is clear: you are not welcome. Americans are routinely turned away at the border, denied entry, or simply told not to bother trying. The sense of exclusion is unmistakable. Iconic sites like Red Square and the Hermitage Museum, once bustling with international visitors, are now out of reach for Americans, their doors effectively closed. Russia's travel wall is now nearly impossible to breach, symbolizing a new era of division and suspicion between East and West. That's why Russia stands firmly at number 8 on our list of countries Americans can't visit. Number 7 is Venezuela, a country in deep crisis and completely off limits to Americans. The US Embassy is closed, so there's zero help if you get in trouble. The Maduro regime sees Americans as enemies, and wrongful detentions are common. Political tensions and sanctions have made travel impossible. The country faces severe shortages of food, medicine, and basic services. Violent crime and kidnapping rates are among the world's highest. All direct flights are suspended, and land borders are dangerous. The government has made it illegal for Americans to enter for tourism. Any attempt to visit could lead to immediate arrest. Venezuela's beauty is overshadowed by danger and hostility. Until things change, it's a no-go zone for US travelers. That's why it's number 7. Number 6 is Syria, a country devastated by war and completely closed to Americans. The US cut diplomatic ties years ago. No embassy, no help, no way in. The Syrian government sees Americans as hostile, and tourist visas are not issued. The risk of detention, kidnapping, or getting caught in conflict is extreme. Syria is a patchwork of warring factions, and an American passport is a dangerous liability. Ancient sites like Damascus and Palmyra are off-limits. The war has sealed Syria off from the world. For Americans, the danger is absolute. Syria's ban is total and non-negotiable. That's why it's number 6. Number 5 is Cuba, just 90 miles from Florida, but now off-limits again. Recent policy reversals by both governments have ended the brief era of easier travel. The US has banned general tourism, restricting visits to narrow categories like family or official business. Cuba, frustrated by sanctions, has made visas for Americans nearly impossible to get. Surveillance of US visitors is up, and the atmosphere is tense. US credit cards don't work, and you must bring all your cash. The embassy is barely staffed, so emergencies are a nightmare. Detentions for political activities can happen without warning. The Cold War chill is back, and tourism is out. Cuba's return to isolation puts it at number 5. For Americans, the Caribbean curtain is down. Number 4 is China, a shocker for many travelers. In late 2024, China began systematically denying tourist visas to Americans. It's not an official ban, but almost no US tourists are getting in. Tensions over trade, Taiwan, and human rights are at an all-time high. Visa denials send a strong political message and cut off cultural exchange. Even regular tourists are being rejected with no explanation. China uses bureaucratic hurdles to block Americans without direct confrontation. Exit bans are a real risk. Some Americans have been trapped for months. The days of easy trips to Beijing or Shanghai are over. China's new stance is a dramatic shift, making it number 4. For US tourists, the Great Wall is now a wall of exclusion. Number 3 is Saudi Arabia, which recently reversed its open-door policy for Americans. Diplomatic fallout over oil, security, and human rights led to a sudden visa suspension for U.S. citizens. Americans can no longer apply for tourist visas. Other Westerners still can. The move is a clear political message, putting tourism ambitions on hold. Billions invested in new attractions now sit out of reach for Americans. The official reason is a review, but only U.S. travelers are affected. For Americans eager to explore Saudi Arabia, the gate is closed. It's a bold, targeted ban. That's why Saudi Arabia is number 3. Number 2 is Belarus, now completely closed to American tourists. Belarus's alliance with Russia and its role in the Ukraine conflict led to severe U.S. sanctions. In retaliation, Belarus stopped issuing visas to Americans and declared the U.S. an unfriendly state. The regime views Americans as potential threats and has cracked down on dissent. Airspace is closed, embassies are shut, and travel is nearly impossible. Americans risk arrest on trumped-up charges if they try to enter. Belarus has walled itself off from the West. For U.S. travelers, it's a black hole in Europe. That's why it's number 2. Number 1 is Afghanistan, the most unreachable and dangerous country for Americans in 2025. After the Taliban takeover, there's no U.S. embassy, no visas, and no way in. The security situation is catastrophic, with terrorism, armed conflict, and rampant kidnapping. The Taliban and rival groups see Americans as enemies or bargaining chips. The legal system offers no protection. Detention can be indefinite. No commercial flights, ruined infrastructure, and no consular help. Even attempting to enter is a life-threatening risk. The Taliban has detained Westerners, and the threat is constant. Afghanistan is not just closed, it's unreachable. For Americans, it's the most dangerous destination on Earth. That's why it tops our list. That's our countdown of the top 10 countries banning U.S. tourists in 2025. From war zones to diplomatic standoffs, the world can change fast. It's a reminder that travel freedom depends on global politics. Which country surprised you most? Let us know in the comments. If you learned something new, hit like and subscribe for more wild travel stories. Stay tuned, travel rules are always changing.